back in. We're celebrating new music with Kill Devil Hills frontman, lead singer, songwriter Dewey Bragg. Dewey. So Mark pulls up the weight, handles a lot of the heavy lifting on this album, writes a lot of it. I know you
Yeah.
contributed. He's probably looking to you for some lyrics and some ideas. Um, Now I know Seas of Oblivion is a hell of a title. Tell us what that means and take us inside, the making of this album. What can we expect?
Well, this album, Seas of Oblivion, was actually was not going to be the title of the record. We are going to call it Blood in the Water, but another band, I can't remember the name of them, had just released their record, and their name was Blood in the Water. Their title was Blood in the Water, so we had to think of something else. So we had to shift gears, and Seas of Oblivion was, you know, um, I always say that you can explain a song to someone, but I always feel like it's very important for the listener to interpret it the way they feel at that moment in time, because you can write lyrics about anything, but depending on how you feel and you listen to it, you can relate to something completely different. You know what I mean? So I mean, this that song is really about, we were writing just about like pirates in the seas and being on a pirate ship and just, you know, things like that. So it's like I said, it's always best for the listeners. I just let them interpret it
Oh,
themselves.
sure.
You know what I mean?
But you were thinking about the olden days, the pirates coming
Yeah,
up.
yeah, that we did a kind of pirate theme record, Kill Double Hill, we did the Pirates, Seas of Oblivion, Undertow, Blood in the Water, Before the Devil Knows You're Dead. What else? We got Pharmaceutical Sunshine and a few of those on there. And God, it's been so long. I don't have a. I need to. It's like you work on you do the demos, you write
Right.
them, do the demos, you work on them, then you do the album, then you just forget about it. So it's like I'm trying to think what was on what's actually on the record. I should have got a little cheat sheet so I can remember. Oh
Yeah,
man,
and I know you got Matt Schnell on bass, right?
yeah,
From Five Finger Death Punch.
right.
We know Matt. And where do you record this album? How was it actually laid down?
Um, we did this in a couple of different places. Matt did the bass. Well, the drums we went. Johnny did the drums in Clear Lake Studios up in Burbank. I think that's the
Oh
name
yeah,
of it.
on Burbank Boulevard. Yeah, I'm right next to it, right here.
Yeah. We did about. I think we did that in about a week. Did all the drum tracks with Chris Collier and Fluff that works for Korn. And then once we did that, he got a little basic mix for us and sent it to Mark. And Mark laid down all the rhythm tracks at his house. And then Matt did all of his bass tracks at his house. And then Mark finished all the solos and everything at his house. And then I flew to Las Vegas to do the vocals with Chris Collier in his studio at his house. So I went up there for about, I think I did the whole album in about 8 days.
Okay.
Keys and everything. Yeah.
Wow.
But it was cool because I've never had an opportunity to go fly elsewhere and, like, be away from everyone, be away from your home, be away from your friends, in a place where you don't really know where anything is. I was in a hotel room, so it was quite nice because there were no outside distractions. I'd get up, go to the gym, have some breakfast, take a shower, get ready, warm up, and I literally walked to his house. It was like a block away. I'd walk over, we record for about, 6 to 8 hours a day, and then I'd go home, I'd go grab some dinner, go back to the hotel, take a shower, and relax. And we just did that every day. But it was really nice because I could focus.
Right. Yeah, a lot of bands sometimes want that. They want to go away somewhere where they're not friends and people jumping, distracting them and popping in their house or whatever. It's good to get away. Speaking of AC/DC Back in Black, that was recorded down in the Bahamas, and it's Mutt Lang was the producer, and it really showed, getting away from everything, obviously with the loss of Bon Scott, but
Yeah.
yeah, a lot of people talk about that trend. For the longest, so many of the big albums were recorded up in Vancouver. A lot of the bands, including Aerosmith and of course Motley Crue and Bon Jovi and gosh, the Cult, you name it, they were all going up to Little Mountain Sound up there in Vancouver, kind of getting away from everything.
Yeah, I think it's great though. You just like I said, you get away from everybody, get away from everything, and just really try to hone in and focus and record the best, piece of material that you can.
Yeah.
I think at the end of the day, though, I really truly believe that if you like it as an individual, like, for instance, if I record something, 9 times out of 10, I don't like my voice because that's just how I am. Um, but if you can hear something that you record, a piece of music that you recorded and you're really happy with it, I think there's something to be said about that. Even if it doesn't sell millions of records, but if you can listen to it and feel good about it, that's something to be said, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's you got to please yourself first. If you're not happy with it, you're basically
Right.
prostituting yourself out there being somebody you're not.
Yeah, right.
So, are there any lyrical parts of a song or any songs in particular that have a special place in your heart on this record? Something that you're just really kind of proud and excited to share?
Well, Pharmaceutical Sunshine is a bit personal because my brother was and I were really close, and he died of liver disease.
Mm,
And that song Pharmaceutical Sunshine hits home with me, especially with the opioid epidemic, and just there's a lot of alcohol abuse
yeah.
and drug addiction out there, and it's like for me that song, I think about my brother, and that song's real special to me, and I also like From the Ashes too. That's another one. I really like the whole record, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But those two stand out. And of course, one of my favorite songs of all time is Solitude of Black Sabbath. We put that on the end of the record. I've
Hmm.
always wanted to do that song. And I showed up over at Mark's house. He's like, check this out. And he recorded. I'm like, what? He recorded it for me. We sang it, so we put it on the record. So those three songs are real special to me.
Wow. Yeah. No, it's coming up. We lost so many of our heroes due to narcotics or alcoholism, and
Yeah,
everybody's got their own journey, but it seemed like a lot of people kind of numb themselves because they couldn't handle the pressures, or they like the high on stage, but then they walk off stage and everything's real quiet and different, and they kind of numb themselves from it all. And losing so many of our heroes. The last years, I talked to so many artists, and they seem to say that now they realize that the party is really on stage. Off stage, you got to almost be like an athlete, like you say, get up, go to the gym,
right.
shower, work out, work your mind, work your body, work your soul, feed your mind. And especially with the price of concert tickets and the costs involved in the business these days, the people really expect a full show. And if you're showing up on stage with a hangover, or you're nodding off because the dealer didn't show up, or I mean, that's unacceptable. It's really
Yeah.
it's almost like sober is the new party. And
Oh,
before, it seemed like, oh, you got to be fucked up to be cool, but no, it's putting on a great show is what's cool. Putting
absolutely.
delivering a great album, that's what's cool.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, you know, when you're young, you don't see the big picture, you're excited and you sometimes things get carried away, but as you get older, you start realizing what's most important and how you should handle yourself. I think that's something that I learned as well, just, you really need to, you know, you need to be as professional as possible or no one's going to take you serious, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's important.
I mean, like you say, you can cut up and
Peloton back here.
there you
Um,
go. I mean, you could be silly and cut up. I see all this backstage video footage of Van Halen recently released, and those guys were just cut ups. They were like class clowns, backstage, and they kind of took that swagger to the stage, and even though they might not have been best friends off the stage, before they went on stage, they were like class clowns, man. They were just ribbing each other and kind of goofing off, and it shows, man. When you hit the stage, and when we're talking about Steven Tyler and Joe Perry and Aerosmith. I mean, I saw so many great shows of theirs. Steven had so much energy bouncing all over the stage and all the scarves on the mic. But, there were some dark times. Obviously, they called Steven and Joe the Toxic Twins, man. They were, not expected to survive, at some points. They really were down a dark hole. And you see that, if you enjoy life, you enjoy your family, there's something to live for. And sobriety is something to be proud of, and people people expect you to be conscious, and
Yeah.
deliver a great show. Speaking of great shows, I see you're gearing up. You're about to launch another tour across the South,
Yeah.
starting down in Louisiana. I'll bring you back to California, to whiskey and all that. Talk about your love for the South and playing those venues.
Oh, I love it because, I'm from Mississippi. I'm from Clinton, Mississippi, and which is, home of rock and roll, the blues.
Yeah,
I mean, there's so much good music down south. It would blow your mind if you had time. I mean, there are so many wonderful musicians, blues, rock, country, jazz, funk, you name it.
yeah,
I always love going back because everyone's so nice. All my friends are back there. You know, um, there's the food's amazing. Um, I'm really excited. Um, but yeah, we have this southbound tour coming up. Unfortunately, I'm not sure if you know, but my mom just recently died, and she died.
yeah. Rest in peace.
Yeah, she lived in Mississippi. She passed away October 24th, and we had this tour planned, and I had to cancel the whole thing because it was just there's no way I could have done it. I mean, I'm literally just now getting to where I can actually like do this and
Yeah,
be involved a little more because it was a big blow because my mom and I were really close. So that's I'm excited because now I feel like my mom would have wanted me to do this because she was such a big supporter and we're really excited to go down south to Biloxi, to Louisiana, to Florida, to Mississippi. It's going to be fun. I wish we were playing more, but everything's so expensive now. You got to for a band like us, you can only go out for so long.
yeah. Well, hopefully some opportunities will arise to extend it at some point. But yeah, no, I know all the way across, man, from Florida and Georgia, Mississippi, Alabama, Arkansas, Louisiana, Texas,
Yeah.
all the way through, New Mexico, Arizona, California. There's some great, great states, great, great places. And when you talk about the heartland of America, you know, um, I saw the Beatles when I was 5, and I moved to England a month later. And my family put me in English school, British school, first three years. And, I'm wearing the little Angus Young, the little blazer with the shorts and the tie and the cap. And, I'm thinking that the British invasion, these guys had invented something new. Beatles and the Stones and the Who and all of that, the Kinks. And they did in a way, but then I talked to them over the years and they said, no, no, all our heroes were Americans. We just reinvented what we were hearing from Mississippi and Alabama and
Yeah.
Tennessee and Chicago and Texas and the Jerry Lee Lewis's and Chuck Berry's and Little Richards and Howlin' Wolf and Muddy Waters. They said no, all our American were our heroes.
Yeah, there's so many good blues artists. I mean, that's where it all came from.
Yeah,
Um,
it's the roots.
there's some places down there you walk in and it's like, wow, where did I just stepped into like a time machine. Just some random band there just ripping ass, just killing it. Blues, rock, everybody's having a good time. I don't know if you've ever been to Mississippi, but if
Oh,
you ever,
sure.
ever
You can imagine what was in those jukeboxes over the years in the corner of the club.
oh yeah. Oh yeah, there's a I actually just I don't know if you've ever been up to Clarksdale, Mississippi. That's where
Sure.
Robert Johnson allegedly
Yeah,
sold his.
yeah, yeah. Crossroads.
But there's a place called the Shack Up Inn. If you ever get a chance, go check it out. It's so cool up there. You can go stay in this shack and go up to Clarksdale, and you can kind of tour the city a little bit and check out some history about Robert Johnson. But like the blues, the blues and the Delta, I mean, it's so amazing. I love going home, but yeah, the home of the rock, home of rock and roll. That's what it says when you cross the border.
Yeah, man. I don't know if you've seen the Led Zeppelin movie, the documentary Becoming Led Zeppelin, but it just shows their foundation,
Yeah,
of all those guys. And I know they even ended up having to give Willie Dixon a bunch of credits on the first couple albums because they're like, well, we didn't intend to steal it, but we realized, man, we were really playing your song, in our way. But you wrote it, so of course you're a co-writer, and I'm sure the family made out nicely on that. But Led Zeppelin being the founding fathers of a lot of this heavy music, they came out before Sabbath, so John
yeah,
Bonham and Jimmy Page and Robert Plant, that voice he had. I mean,
yeah,
you watch this and you're like, whoa, where'd that come from? These guys were from, they called it like the black country, the middle of England, not London, not the flashy parts, but John Bonham and Robert Plant came from like the heartland. So it'd be
yeah.
like the equivalent of Mississippi or,
He's a huge blues fan. He's talks about it all the time. He says a lot of the music that they listen to were a lot of Mississippi blues influence
yep.
band or artists, if you will, which I thought was very cool.
Yeah, it's
I
good to,
want to see that though. I want to see that. It's a
oh,
documentary, right?
it's a documentary. It's still in the theaters. You may want to go. It's playing at the Limley right here on Lancashire, by Magnolia, right up the street from Laurel Canyon. Uh,
Uh,
check you check your listing. I saw it at the IMAX at Universal, and it was like, yo, whoa,
Big
this
screen.
was big screen, man.
Oh, I bet that's great. I love
Holy
that.
shit. There's so much archival footage of them in their prime live and that early stuff, but it really shows, like the title, Becoming Led Zeppelin. It shows where these roots of their music came from. It's not just them in their first show. It's like how each guy came up and how they came together. And I mean, they were called the New Yardbirds when they first went out because
Yeah,
Jimmy came from that band. But they quickly realized, no, we got to have our own name. This is a new band. But
yeah.
yeah, I highly suggest it, seeing it in a bigger screen with good volume in the
I'd
theater.
love to see it because I'm a fan of Led Zeppelin. I'm a huge John Bonham fan.
Oh my God. Yeah, his grandson is playing at the Whiskey coming up.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, Henry.
Jagger Henry,
Right, yeah, I've met him. He actually played the group.
Jason Bonham's son. Yeah,
He's a really there. He's a nice guy. Great band. His I think what was it? Jason Bonham's Led Zeppelin experience played the.
that's right. He's been opening for them.
Yeah,
And
they're great.
Jason's got a bunch of summer dates, so
Great.
Jagger will be out there. But yeah, they're playing at the Whiskey where Led Zeppelin played on their first tour, and
Wow,
the opening act was Alice Cooper. You can imagine that, the Alice Cooper band.
wow,
And then they're supported by a group called the Nocturnal Affair from Vegas, and then the next night they go out to Vegas and play with them there. So yeah,
nice.
we talked to him and talked to Jason and a bunch of people in the family. I talked to John Bonham's sister, Deborah, and just getting the insights to this mild mannered guy. He was known as the wild man on stage, and he liked to drink, but off stage he was like a family man. You see him in The Song Remains the Same with Jason when he was like 2 years old, putting him
Yeah,
on a drum kit. But yeah, no, it's great to just see the legacy moving forward, and I respect Jagger for doing it, not using the Bonham name, and not really relying on his DNA, his bloodline. He wants to do it on his own.
yeah,
So that's really admirable.
yeah. It really is. They're great people. Um, they're really nice folks, and all the best to him. I'm sure. I mean, when I saw him play, I liked him. I thought he sounded great.
Yeah,
Every now and again, I was like, he does look like his grandfather a little bit.
yeah, it's pretty amazing. Jason's got that British accent, but Jagger, even though he was born in England, he doesn't. He's got the American accent. Grew up in Florida, so it's kind of cool. But we
Yeah,
want to encourage everybody to go to the website, killdevilhillmusic.com, check out the tour dates, see what's closest to you. You might get a little road trip together, go see Dewey and Mark and the boys. They are delivering the goods. The new album, Seas of Oblivion. And man, we can't thank you enough. It's been a real pleasure. Look forward to staying in touch with you and doing this again soon, man. Thank you so much for joining us, Dewey.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.